Coach, what did you see tonight that you maybe didn't see in the previous 5 matches?
Goals. Goals help. It felt different. The first half, like that's what I was saying to them in there. Although there was no goals at that point, it felt different. I don't know if you guys maybe feel the same inside the building. The energy felt different. The intensity, the commitment level, and the real belief in each other felt different to me. It looked different. So, and then the longer the game went, I felt like they had more belief in it. And then obviously the goals will change games. It got insane as things tend to do here towards the end. But it just felt different. And then when the goals come, and the red card happens, the game starts to open up a little bit, and yeah, it gets out of hand. But I like it that way, I guess, as long as we're on the other end of it.
Rob, what has Pedro Amador added to this team since his arrival, and why has he been able to kind of just fit in so well right away?
I mean, the media impact is the interesting one to always ask, because like guys that come from a different country or just guys that drop into a group, it's hard to acclimate as quick as possible. He's added consistency. He's been very consistent. That's one thing that just comes to mind when I see him. And it's not, I don't mean this in a bad way with him. It's not a 10 out of 10 performance, not a 1 out of 10. He's just like always there. You can always count on him to be very consistent, and I think that's a sign of a good pro. He just seems like a great kid, and yeah, just any moment he gets a chance to play, it seems to be really, really enjoying it.
Yeah, Rob, obviously you all knew the objective coming in. You had to win to keep your playoff hopes alive. You did that, obviously. So do you kind of wish that you were out there next week versus 2 weeks from now to kind of build on this momentum, because the international break is, of course, next week? So,
Yeah, that happened again in the Charlotte game too. It's like we gained momentum. Thought we played pretty well in that Charlotte game, and it's somewhat similar. I thought we played pretty well. We win the game, and then all right, can we have some momentum? Don't have it, so it's no excuses there. I think I'll leave it at that before I expand on something else.
Coach, what can this team do if it does make the playoffs? It feels like tonight was a good example of what it can do under pressure. So what could happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hit you with this line, but I'm going to do it. Like, I can't think that way, because it's not in our hands, one, and we can only control what we can. So the next game is Orlando away, and we need to go to try to win the game to continue to put pressure on teams. Everyone on decision day is going to be trying to win their games and either finish as high as possible or make the playoffs. So if we get in the playoffs, I'll be happy to answer that. And yeah, no problem. I'll be very happy to answer that one.
Rob, really quickly, obviously with Brooks out tonight, Ronald steps in there at right back. What did you think of his play and how he was active early, especially in the offensive end, and the goal line save that kept things goalless in the first 45? Active night for him, what did you think?
Yeah, he was very consistent. Shoot, man, Ronald, he's just persistent. Like, I'm not touching on what happened tonight, but I'm just looking at him as a kid, like a player on the team. He is just persistent. He's had setbacks. He's sometimes started games, sometimes been a sub, sometimes not played. He's had 2 injuries. He's had setbacks within that, but he just keeps showing up. He just doesn't go away, and I mean that in the best way possible. He shows up every single day to do his job to the best of his ability, and he hasn't played in a long time, and to put a performance in like that, to play longer than 45 minutes was incredible. And obviously he played the whole game. It's a big testament to who he is as a person. But that's a good example of a good pro.
2 questions. Do you think that the team, with Toronto losing and the team knowing if it got a result, it could stay alive, affected the beginning of the match for them? And second, how would you describe Jamal Thierry's playing style? Because he spends a lot of time getting fouled and on the ground because he throws himself into everything.
Yeah. The first part, I don't know. That would be a question for all of them to answer. I would hope not. Like, I just hope that like I've told them before, like, we just need to focus on us, put the pressure on every other team by winning our game. Just win the game at hand, focus on that part. That's been the message, but I would hope that was what happened. Maybe it was a little bit of what they saw, that Toronto loses, and then they feel they got more hope, and they really believe it. Jamal, he just runs everything down, sometimes over the top. But yeah, I mean, he's very, let's say he's opportunistic. Like, he sees opportunity in something that probably don't think he should press to or he should run down. But if we take that away from him, maybe he doesn't score the goal against Toronto. So he's always looking for any little inch to get in there.
And to be fair, I mean, Red Bulls had 2 goals called offsides that maybe totaled about a foot in length. I was curious your emotions as you watched those 2 plays unfold, just holding your breath, or what was going through your head?
I knew you were gonna bring up the negative part again. I just knew it. No, I just joke. I was frustrated, really frustrated, because that's what's caused us problems all season. Little things like that when you're in control of the game, that you have to see things out. And yeah, we got lucky, but I've said it before, you create your own luck, and damn right we deserve some of that. So I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'll take it. Sorry to Sandro and them, but they've got their points. They're getting the playoffs, and I can't feel sorry for anybody else at the moment.
Sid and Joe, last two, I think.
Sort of to pivot off that point, Rob. Edwin getting to start tonight, maybe a little bit out of necessity, but what do you make of his shift this evening?
Yeah, he's another one, like, I think similar to Ronald in some ways, that he didn't know how long he could go for. He's been very effective in his role that he's played before. And he's obviously been battling through with his knee. So he was continuously trying to get at people. He was able to work back enough to defend and help in some ways. I was happy for him that he was able to go as many minutes as he did.
Rob, you mentioned it, just kind of how pleased you were with the first half, the energy that they brought. But how important was that for you as the coach, and how much were you looking for the physical response from this team early in the game, considering the stage of the season? Some players just generally can have a tendency to check out mentally or whatever at this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, I think what sucks is that I've been looking for that, and I don't mean on the whole. Like I get that, like you said, maybe there are some guys that are checked out. I hope not. But it's a tough part. It's been a tough season. It's a tough part of the season now. It's pressure, and yeah, some maybe are feeling that a little bit, and maybe some uncertainty, and that negativity goes into their mind, and things haven't been going our way. But what I said to them before, I said it after the last game, the next day, I just said, you have to keep showing up. The hardest thing to do when you give everything you have to something and you have failure is to keep showing up and keep doing it. I think it's really easy when you feel like, I've done everything, I've checked every box, I've worked as hard as I can, it's just not working. It's easy to give up, but it's hard to keep showing up. And I think that's the thing. Like, this is their reward tonight, and the reward then is go again and put the pressure on teams and win to put yourself in the playoffs. But we can't guarantee that. But I think, like, biggest part of it, to getting a long way to answer your question, is you got